Hello everyone, my name is Adnan Aamir and you are watching Adnan Aamir Show. So today we are going to talk about the visit of Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif to People's Republic of China. Today, anytime Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif will land in China on a visit where he has been invited by the top Chinese leadership. This is his first visit after he assumed office and he will be there for 5 days. And for any Pakistani Prime Minister, the visit to China is very important. And it's even more important for Shehbaz Sharif because the PDM government, the PDM 2.0 government is really struggling on the economic front. So this visit, this 5 day long visit, in this visit, Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif will meet the Chinese man at the top, the paramount leader Xi Jinping. He will also meet Li Qiang, the premier, and will hold delegational level talks with him. Then the Prime Minister Sharif will visit 3 cities apart from Beijing. He will also visit Shenzhen and Xi'an. And as per a curtain raiser issued by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Pakistan, Prime Minister Sharif will meet the Chinese business leaders in the fields of oil and gas, energy, information and communication technologies, and emerging technologies. Then Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif will also have meet with representatives of Pakistan China Business Forum and then with many other Chinese business leaders. So the aim is to get maximum investment from China, not only from the government but also from the private sector, which in China there is no such private sector, but still, like, in a way, the government wants the individual Chinese businesses to invest in Pakistan. And apart from that, the government of Pakistan, through its media, through the state media, is peddling a narrative that this visit of Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif will kickstart the phase 2 of CPEC, China-Pakistan Economic Corridor. And there have been many articles glorifying what CPEC phase 2 might be. And the government claims that the Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister, Ishaq Dar, who recently visited China, so he laid the groundwork for this visit, and now Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif will go and he will sign new agreements which will kick off the phase 2 of CPEC. It seems very good. It presents a very rosy picture, and it is meant to reassure not only the Pakistani public but also to reassure the global community that Pakistan is doing well on the economic front, which is not the case. So now, coming to the point, will this visit of Shehbaz Sharif going to materialize in large investments for Pakistan? Will Pakistan going to get something major out of it? The short answer is no. Let's understand why. First of all, the major problem for Chinese in Pakistan is security. In March this year, there was another attack on Chinese in Shangla who were going to the Dasu hydropower project. 5 Chinese engineers were unfortunately killed in this attack. And Pakistan had to pay them $2.5 million in compensation to the families of those Chinese engineers. Then again, there was another attack on Japanese in Karachi, in which they fortunately survived. But according to the police officials in Karachi, they were mistaken as Chinese. So that attack was meant to be on Chinese. So these rising level of security threats for Chinese is the number one problem for China. And according to China, Pakistan is not doing enough. In most of the meetings that Pakistani top leadership has with Chinese, the Chinese bring security as the number one agenda, and so far Pakistan has not been able to satisfy them. Now, when it comes to this Shangla attack in March, where 5 Chinese engineers were killed, Pakistan tried to put the blame on Afghanistan and Afghan Taliban, and there are some reports that the Chinese diplomats are now pressurizing Afghan Taliban to go after TTP, the Pakistani Taliban, whose one faction is reportedly carried out that attack. But in short, the matters on security front are far from satisfactory, and until and unless there is some major development on this front, China is not going to invest anything major in Pakistan. Surprisingly, there were some reports on some sections of Pakistani media that China has demanded a Zarb-e-Azb type of operation, which was carried out in 2014 against the Pakistani Taliban in North Waziristan, and then again in the rest of the country. But surprisingly, those articles disappeared from the internet. So we are not sure whether China has made this demand or not, but definitely there is pressure from China to go out against all those militants who are carrying out attacks on China. So until and unless that problem is not resolved, China is not going to put anything major in Pakistan's economy. Secondly, the whatever China has already invested, and mainly it has invested in the power sector. It is not the Chinese companies here, the Chinese power producers. They are very frustrated the way things are shaping up, because government of Pakistan owes them more than 500 billion rupees, something around 530 billion rupees that Pakistan government owes them and is not able to pay them. So these companies that are here mainly to make profit, they are not able to repatriate these to get that profit and repatriate it back to their own country. So it's very frustrating for them. So if a Chinese power producer has invested Pakistan in producing electricity and it is not getting a return on investment, then why would new companies that Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif will meet in China will invest in Pakistan? It makes no sense to the Chinese, and that's why this claim for government is also comical, to say the least. Then there are problems with the structure of Pakistan, about the socio-political structure of the Pakistan, and also the bureaucratic structure of the Pakistan, which has made Chinese frustrated since 2015. And I'll just give you just one example of 300 megawatt power plant in Gwadar. So this power plant, initially the MOU for this power plant was signed way back in 2015. It was supposed to provide electricity to Gwadar port. And 9 years from that, still no progress has been made on the development or construction of that project. It was initially envisioned as a coal power project, and the coal would have to be imported. But now the government is trying to convince Chinese, and it has given its verdict that it wants that power plant to instead to be shifted on coal. Now that presents a problem, because the Chinese companies who are supposed to build and operate that power plant, they have already done their calculations. They want to import the coal. They don't want to use coal. So it will just disrupt their plans. Secondly, bringing coal all the way from Thar to Gwadar would require a level of roads and infrastructure which we currently miss, which are not there. The existing Makran Coastal Highway, whenever there is a rainfall, most of the bridges, they just break down. So I think that the current infrastructure does not permit the regular flow of coal from Thar. So that is also going to be a problem. And this is very significant in the context, because even till now, Gwadar Port does not have electricity from the national grid. It has two diesel power generators that combinedly produce electricity of 15 megawatt, and that's all the Gwadar Port has to offer to run its operations, which is very less, and that's really frustrating. And because the government of Pakistan, it agrees on one thing and then changes the scope of things, so it disrupts the plans for Chinese, and that's why they are not happy. And that will be one of the reasons that they will not invest more air in CPEC. Moreover, the elephant in the room, the political instability in Pakistan. So the last year, whenever the government of Pakistan had interactions with Chinese leadership, they were saying that let's first have elections in Pakistan, let's first have a stable government, and then we will economically engage with it. But we had elections which were reportedly and allegedly one of the most rigged in the history, and still the most popular leader Imran Khan is in prison, and there are legal cases against him back and forth. So it's a very unstable government. The political stability in the country has increased rather than decreasing after the general election. So even if Chinese have to invest something in Pakistan, they would be reluctant given the lack of stability of the current regime, and that's also a major problem. And one more thing is that the government of Pakistan presents a completely different picture of China-Pakistan economic corridor as compared to what is real. And they believe that the Chinese believe what the picture that they are presenting, but that's not the case. So a couple of days back, Dawn published a very interesting article in which they translated some of the excerpts from some of the articles which Chinese academics have written about CPEC. So some of the interesting points of those articles were that the Chinese academics clearly say that CPEC is not meant to be a game changer. It is something that Pakistanis have assumed themselves. It is just a business project and part of BRI, and it's just a business transaction. It's not a game changer. Secondly, they also know, and they have written about how the dynamics of majoritarian democracy in Pakistan, where one province, Punjab, dominates other province, and the leaders, the political leaders from Punjab, which in this case are PMLN, they just diverted all the benefits of CPEC towards that province, and the province of Balochistan and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa especially were left out in the process, and that has created resentment against CPEC, and that's a major problem, and holding holding CPEC back, and the Chinese know about it. And they have also pointed out a very important factor, that they know that this dynastic politics that Pakistan has, the Sharifs, the Bhutto Zardaris, and others who are dominating the political scene, the Chinese believe that this is also holding Pakistan back. And they also even know to the extent that now this dynastic politics has even trickled down to grassroots level, even at the district level, where there are small dynasties in every district, and they are the one who are controlling the politics and the power, and that's also a problematic thing. So given all these things, I think Chinese don't really want to put their fingers more in this mess, and they just want whatever they have invested, they just want that to be executed and completely, and they just want to repatriate the profits that they are making on the producing power plants. Now, what is going to happen in this context? So Prime Minister is there on 5 days visit, and it's a very long visit. And so what is going to happen? So Prime Minister is going to meet the top leadership. There will be photo ops, and then there will not be any major investment. There will not be commitment of any major investment from China. So one thing that is likely to happen is that China might concede to starting mainline one, because it's a project that Chinese themselves want to start, and they have been doing it for a very long time. But again, given the problems within the Pakistan, the project has been delayed. So according to the latest plans, now that plan has been agreed around $6.7 billion, and that will be bifurcated in 3 components. So each component will be like around 2 billion to 2.5 billion. And I think in this visit, it is possible. The only major success can be that China agrees to just first component or first phase of mainline one, and they agreed to invest 2.5 or something between 2 to 2.5 billion dollars. Nothing more than that. There can be many vague MOUs of how Pakistan and China will cooperate, but there will not be anything significant. And we will also hear about Chinese complaints of security and things like this, but there is not going to be any major development when it comes to CPEC, and there will not be any things such as CPEC phase 2. I mean, it can be on the press statement, it can be on what government of Pakistan claims, but it will not be translated in terms of more investments coming from China. Then another important thing is, so when after the end of the visit, the joint statement will come out. So the joint statement will present a very glorifying picture of Pak-China relations, how CPEC is going well, how it's a success story, how all the negative things about CPEC are just propaganda by the Western press and things like this. But that's just for the sake of diplomatic consumption. That's just for the sake of consumption of the people on the both sides. But in reality, this is not going to be the case. So in short, the Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif, who is in China to get relief for his government, to protect his government in terms of economically, that's not going to happen, and that's the bottom line. So this was for this episode of Adnan Aamir Show, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.